Hello, and welcome to Popcorn News. Something to watch while you eat popcorn. Germany to break off U.S. alliance if Federal Reserve not ended, claims whistleblower Karen Hughes.
For people who want to know what the indicators are to see what's going on, just look at what Germany is doing vis-a-vis its alliance with the United States. Because what we know from the power transition model that came to the World Bank in 2004, which is 90 to 95% accurate, we know that Germany is going to break off its alliance with the United States if we do not kick out the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank.
Janet Yellen logo for Federal Reserve grilled by Congressman Sean Duffy. Of note is the camera angle, which made Yellen look like a bug under the microscope. New Year's Eve fire at Address downtown Dubai Hotel. This happened as the year 2016 was being ushered in. The symbolism was immediately noticed by Popcorn News. You might think, Dubai Hotel fire? Failure of Federal Reserve. Hallelujah! The Fed is about to be replaced by constitutional money issued by means of Article 1, Section 8. Congress shall have power to coin money and regulate the value thereof. You might think, hooray! The privately owned Federal Reserve is about to go away, and constitutional money will replace it. But the Dubai Tower New Year's Eve symbolism indicates something else. Think of the Dubai Hotel fire as the Federal Reserve, and think of the undamaged 2,722 foot tall Burj Khalifa as a global central bank. Federal Reserve to be replaced by a single global central bank is the secret plan. But once the Fed gets tossed, it need not mean a single global Burj Khalifa. Instead of private Babylonian banksters controlling our money supply, the government itself can issue money with no need for private banker involvement. Let us review what has happened up until now. Babylon's Banksters. The Alchemy of Deep Physics, High Finance, and Ancient Religion by Joseph P. Farrell. In this latest installment of his remarkable series of books, Joseph Farrell outlines strategy of bankers in ancient and modern times. A customer review, he deftly connects the dots of banking, physics, music, sociology, economics, politics, and astrology in a remarkable piece of detective work. The reviewer says, I have come to the conclusion through my own decades of research that there exists some sort of hidden group of highly influential, highly secretive people who have been manipulating human culture for at least thousands of years. Farrell traces the use of money, banking, credit, and debt from historical sources back thousands of years to Egypt and Babylon and beyond, actually, the existence of a powerful, secretive, multinational cartel of bullion brokers who control the mining, smelting, and minting of gold and silver is quite clearly demonstrated. Moving on from Babylon, which tried to build its own Burj Khalifa, the Tower of Babel, we arrive at the Roman Empire. From a curious book, first published in 1935, Lincoln, Money Martyred. Therein we find that in 48 BC, Julius Caesar, a successful general, virtually ruled Rome, and he sought to correct many existing evils, among which was the limitation of land ownership. He saw the abuses of the money matters. Up to this time, the issuing or coining of money had been granted to a few wealthy families. Caesar took this privilege from them and restored it to the government, to whom it belonged. Well, that spelled doom for Julius Caesar. Also, in the time of the Roman Empire, we have the situation of Jesus and his attack on the money changers. As long as Christ confined his teachings to the realm of morality and righteousness, he was undisturbed. It was not till he assailed the established economic system and cast out the profiteers and overthrew the tables of the money changers that he was doomed. The following day he was questioned, betrayed on the second, tried on the third, and on the fourth crucified. The cult of the private money manipulators moved on to Venice. In a later book by the same author, Joseph P. Farrell, Financial Vipers of Venice. In this sequel to Babylon's banksters, the banksters have moved from Mesopotamia via Rome to Venice. Okay, and why is Venice interesting? Well, for one reason, James Fenimore Cooper wrote a novel called The Bravo, and most people don't know about it. But I read this book a couple times, and it's very interesting. And in this book, Cooper uses lightness and darkness to paint the scenes. However, unlike some of his other books, The Bravo is predominated by dark settings and language. Following his political themes, the official political powers in the novel are often draped in dark settings. In this context, the few chapters which present Venice as brightly lit depict daylight as a hypocritical false front. However, moonlight, unlike sunlight and artificial lighting, illuminate scenes of hope to overcome the dark official Venice. Like fly-by-night hucksters living out of suitcases in flea-bag hotels, the private cult kept switching locations. Bank of Venice, Bank of Genoa, Bank of Amsterdam, Bank of England, and William of Orange, and 1688. Meyer Amschel Rothschild in 1700. Permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes its laws. Ever moving, a so-called First United States Bank was established in 1791. It was then that Thomas Jefferson warned, "I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies." Andrew Jackson fought against this so-called Bank of the United States, and the creature crawled into its underground lair to lick its wounds. Then came the American Civil War, and the hope that control of the nation's money might be returned to we the people. A constitutional greenback was conceived, but private bankers sabotaged the babe at birth. 1862, Congressional Globe. The date, February 20th, 1862. And what happened on February 20th, 1862? Well, the Treasury Note Bill. And the private bankers tried to undermine and sabotage the Civil War greenbacks at inception. Their cashiers and agents were soon on the ground and persuaded the Senate with but little deliberation to mangle and destroy what had cost the House months to digest, consider, and pass. They fell upon the bill in hot haste, and so disfigured and deformed it that its very father would not know it. Instead of being a beneficent and invigorating measure, it is now positively mischievous. It has all the bad qualities which its enemies charged on the original bill and none of its benefits. It now creates money and by its very terms declares it a depreciated currency. Okay, and what do we find? That had been on February 20th. And what do we find on February 22nd? Congressional Globe, Senate, February 22nd, 1862. The Vice President laid before the Senate the following communication. The President of the United States was last evening plunged into affliction by the death of a beloved child. Resolved that the Senate entertain in the deepest sentiments of condolence with the President in his present affliction and the death of his son, and in view of this afflicting event, the Commissioner of the Public Buildings be directed to omit the illumination of the public buildings tonight. And who was this son who had died? Willy Lincoln, third son of President Lincoln, died February 20th, 1862 at the age of 12. Seedy bankster forces descended upon Washington and created a miasma of pestilence. Slain due to the poisoned spiritual atmosphere was William Wallace Lincoln, third son of Abraham and Mary Lincoln. Willy, as he was nicknamed, died on February 20th, 1862, coincident to Congressman Thaddeus Stevens having denounced that very day the cashiers and agents of the bullion brokers and their associated banks. And now it seems the fly-by-night flea bags are once more packing their bags, this time departing for a single global central bank. Let's not be fooled. Let's do it for Willy.
Oh, Willy, is it you, dear? Safe at home. They did not tell me true, dear. They said you would not come.
Thank you for watching Popcorn News.
Heard you at the gate, and it made my heart rejoice, for I knew that welcome footstep and that dear familiar voice, making music on my